displaying the glory of God's creation by exploring America one park at a time. Welcome to Parking Full Time with Big Dave, the park's professor. 10th hole. The par and distance are at the top of the screen. This is another short and tight and heavily wooded dogleg hole, similar to the holes that we saw at the end of the front nine. This hole is a dogleg left. There is a little bit of downhill to get down to the basket, and that's kind of nice to see on a course that's almost completely flat. There is dense woods behind the basket, so make sure you account for that downhill and don't overthrow. There's the 10th basket, and there's the view back to the tee from behind the basket. The 11th hole is the only par 4 on this course. The tee shot plays across the corner of a marsh, and while this marsh has been all around the course, this is the only place where the marsh comes into sight and into play. We're going to jump across the marsh and then head around the dogleg right and up to the basket. There are plenty of trees on the other side of the marsh, so even though it's only about 150 feet to clear the marsh, if you get a bad ricochet off of one of those trees, you can still end up there. This is probably this course's signature hole. The 12th hole is another short, heavily wooded hole. It is a sharp dogleg left. It's fairly tight, and this is the point where I realized that maybe there are a few too many short and sharp doglegs on this course. I do want to welcome you back to Parking Full Time. I am Big Dave, the park's professor. We are at Shepard State Park. We are in the boot heel of Mississippi, and specifically in Gautier, Mississippi. There's the view back to the tee. The 13th hole is the last of the super short and super tight holes, finally. It also plays over a low ridge, and again, on a course this flat, any kind of elevation change is quite refreshing. I should also mention that there are some hiking trails that go through this part of the course, and while I didn't see anybody on these trails when I was here, you do have to check for walkers before you throw. There's the view back to the tee. The 14th hole is still heavily wooded, but it has a wider fairway than previous holes. This fairway is dead straight, and it plays up a dirt walking trail, but the basket is offset from the trail in the woods off to the left. This isn't a great hole, but it's a nice change from what you've been playing. I captured this video on Thursday, February the 6th, and it was a warm, sunny, and Gulf Coast humid afternoon with temperatures in the mid-70s when I came here. The 15th hole is a slight dogleg left. It has a wide fairway with dense woods on either side. It also has this little drainage gully that goes up the middle of the fairway, and that can make your stance on your approach a little bit challenging. Overall, this hole's short enough and open enough that a good tee shot should lead to a birdie. The 16th tee is off to the left on this same side of the road behind the basket. One of this course's weaknesses is its lack of signage, and if you're in the dense woods, then it's pretty easy to follow the course route. But once the course opens up a little bit, following the course route can be a real challenge due to the lack of signage and the lack of a course map. The 16th hole is the longest hole on this course. It has a wide and straight fairway. There's this row of pine trees off to the right, and there's dense woods off to the left, and so of course you're better off missing right than you are missing left. Still, given this hole's length, this is a real bear of a hole, and 3 would be a really good score on this hole. I do want to thank you for watching. Parking Full Time would not be anything without the people who watch. I realize that every day, and I thank you every day. Also, as a reminder, I do not make any monetary compensation for anything that I do for this project, and therefore all I get for writing these course reviews and putting together these videos are your likes, your subscribes, your views, and your comments, and I do appreciate all of those things. There's the 16th basket, and the view back to the tee. The 17th hole plays the opposite direction and heads back into the woods. It's a gradual dogleg left. The fairway starts out pretty generous, but as we get closer to the basket, these pine trees are going to start to really crimp the line of play. And so you don't want to get too aggressive with your tee shot. If you do, you'll get a bad ricochet off of these trees up here. The Mississippi State Park system has an excellent collection of disc golf courses. This one is good, but it's definitely not the best of the lot. It doesn't really make much use of the marsh that's around this park. There are a few too many short and sharp doglegs, and the signage definitely needs to be upgraded. Also, I have read that course maintenance and bugs can be a real problem here, although neither of those were real issues when I came here in mid-February. The 18th hole is the final hole on this course. There are 23 holes at this park, but the 5 lettered holes are in the middle, and I showed them to you on the previous video. This hole is another short dogleg hole, but the fairway is pretty generous, and therefore a good throw with a left or right disc flight should set up a birdie opportunity on this hole. Overall, I did enjoy my round on this course, and it's worth paying the $5 park entrance fee in order to play here. That is the end of the course. Have a great afternoon, take care, and Lord bless.